Hello again and welcome to our second session of our online exhibition for Memories Brought Home, a project funded by the National Heritage Lottery Fund. We've been visiting beautiful heritage sites in Hampshire to see whether they would help people who are lonely and isolated improve their well-being. So for those of you who weren't with us yesterday, my name is Caroline and I'm your host for the exhibition. Now if you're watching live either on Facebook or YouTube, we're sat here right now waiting for you to put your comments and questions in the comments bar. So do say hello so that we know that you're watching. Now this project would not have been a success without the team of the most wonderful volunteers. They do say that money makes the world go round, or at least the song says that. But I would like to say that volunteers make the world go round, because our volunteers were certainly the oil in the wheels that made this project work. We'd like to introduce you to some of them now and show you some of the things that they've been up to. So do sit back, have a cup of tea and enjoy this next section.
group, the Memories Brought Home, and I've joined in there. I've been there most weeks and thoroughly enjoyed it. It doesn't only help the people we're helping, I think it also helps yourself.
I've only been part of it for a short time, and I've developed during that time an appreciation of how good it has been for the people that we are trying to help, and also the team spirit amongst the volunteers. And when you're volunteering, it makes yourself feel good, because you do it to help other people, but it also enhances your own feelings of self-worth.
For helping people who needed help but were too shy or afraid or whatever to go out and ask for help.
I saw it advertised on Twitter, and I work within archaeology and therefore part of heritage, and I just thought something that was, I think heritage can be a real force for good, and it sounded a really good idea to give something to people who perhaps were isolated and lonely, and using heritage, because I know there's so much good can come from it. It would be a really nice thing to be involved in, so that's kind of what drew me to it.
When you talked about the Memories Brought Home, I've been looking after a lady with dementia, and I thought, well, maybe I can learn something that I can take back to help her. And I've again made more friends being part of that heritage group, so that's why I'm here.
What's volunteering? It's great fun. Every day is different, people are different, situations change. Very eye-opening, makes you think about others more than yourself. Place for happiness and for sadness.
I think doing the volunteering was giving me a sense of purpose, excuse me, because I had spare time on my hands, and it was great doing it. I was able to drive the minibus, and I think the best part of it was the look on people's faces when we went to pick them up. Sometimes they were waiting outside the door, sometimes they were waiting on the road, but to see their faces, oh, here it is, the bus has come, we're going out for the afternoon.
I have really enjoyed volunteering with the Memories Brought Home project. I've been involved in 3 different groups. One of them was the art group in Petersfield. That was one of the first projects, and it was great. So tried lots of new activities and crafts and all sorts. Met new people, lovely surroundings.
For me, it serves as a reminder of how lucky I am, because although yes, I live on my own and sometimes it can be lonely, I'm not alone. I have got people around me. If worst comes to worst, I can ring a friend up and say, I'm really struggling, can I come round? So some of the people that we interact with in the project haven't got anything, and they're facing challenges, whether it be dementia, disability, learning disability. So sort of seeing them just makes me think, yeah, how lucky am I?
Wow, what a brilliant bunch of people, sharing and giving their time, their energy, their skills and knowledge, and lots of love and kindness to everybody. They were absolutely fantastic. One of the team is a gentleman called Alan, and he came to Fort Nelson and gave us a talk about coins, and we thought that you would enjoy that too. So here's Alan right now. Over to you, Alan.
My name's Alan, and with the help of my son Matt, I'm going to talk to you about coins and try to increase our appreciation of the design on coins. Now, in particular, I'm going to concentrate on the money that we had prior to decimalisation, which are these coins here, which I don't expect you to look at in detail at the moment, but there was the farthing, the halfpenny, the penny, the threepence, the sixpence, the shilling, the florin, the half a crown, and not very often seen the crown much, because the crown nearly wasn't circulated very much. The crown itself was more for commemorative purposes and had a different design. And in fact, one of the last crowns that I'm going to talk about, or in the period, had the Queen's head on one side, and most unusually another head on the other side, that of Winston Churchill. So if I can conclude, I'd like you to not take coins for granted. And many people thought the old coins had no value once they could not be spent. But when you look at them, they are documents that change with history. The significant changes of design coincided with periods of change in history. And also, a lot of the designs were very intricate, beautifully carved. So I'd encourage you to look at the coins, explore the differences, and think of them as valued historical documents, and also interesting works of art. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. That was really interesting. Now we're going to take you to Mottisfont Abbey, a beautiful country estate just near Romsey in Hampshire, sheltered in the valley of the River Test and operated by the National Trust. Have you ever been there before? Well, if not, you're in for a real treat. So sit back and enjoy this next clip.
The stunning setting of Mottisfont Abbey was the base for two different groups. The Autumn Group drew its participants from Mottisfont Village, Abbeyfield Retirement Home and Grove Place Retirement Home, while the Spring Group came from Butterflies Bereavement Group and Dunwood Retirement Home. Mottisfont volunteers Fran, Jane and Julia helped coordinate and facilitate the course. Here we see Jane explaining to the group that they would explore the vast house and grounds over a number of different weeks. A tour of the lower part of the house began in the solarium, the original food store used by the Abbey monks. Back in the main house, Jane orientated the group's current location using a plan of the property. Here, the group explored the drawing room. The first outdoor tour included a visit to the gardener's cottage and followed the timeline of development of Mottisfont's rose gardens. The participants also learnt about the conservation measures used to ensure the garden remains as authentic as possible. The cottage was dressed with the fruits of the local harvest, wheat sheafs, hops and colourful gourds. Next, Jane explained how Mottisfont volunteers planned and created the Autumn Scarecrow Walk. And then the group had fun finding the scarecrows. A wander through the gourd walk was next, a pergola hung with many varieties of growing gourds. The group were amazed at the number of different varieties of gourd, all shapes, colours and sizes. The grounds of Mottisfont gave us a wonderful opportunity to engage with nature and explore the seasonal changes of woodland trees and their fruits, all carefully explained by volunteer Julia. The group stopped to look at the mill stream. On another occasion, volunteers Jane and Fran led a discussion reflecting about the autumn changes in the grounds. And over a cup of tea, the participants used a multi-sensory approach to explore the fruits of nature that had been collected on the walk, and they reminisced about childhood games of conkers and roasting chestnuts in the autumn. Another house tour took the group to some grander rooms. Here is the saloon, which is also known as the Rex Whistler Room. The group were mesmerised by the trompe l'oeil that Whistler painstakingly painted. Next, Fran talked about the paintings in the sitting room, before moving on to admire the dining table set for harvest supper. Later, they marvelled at the stunning display of glass lanterns. The luxury of Maud Russell's bedroom certainly impressed the group. The boys' room offered a hint of the family's interests and the recording of their lavish lifestyle and celebrity-filled parties, which included keeping a crocodile in the bathroom, or so the tale goes. The group enjoyed a demonstration of baking traditional scones, tasting the products, and learning about the difference between upstairs and downstairs life. A trip to the kitchen garden gave an insight into the traditional methods of working. Later in the morning, the participants tried their hand at harvesting lavender heads and making lavender posies. What a wonderful fragrance! A wide range of seasonal vegetables, fruits and herbs were grown in the kitchen gardens, including these medlars that were made into jam. Exploring the chapel gave the group an opportunity to learn about the history of the original abbey. and the group were astounded to discover that the stable block had been used to house children evacuated from London during the Second World War. In the run-up to Christmas, participants spent the morning creating seasonal wreaths. The autumn course rounded off with a tour of the spectacular Christmas exhibition.
Wasn't it beautiful? I said you'd enjoy it. Thank you, Kate, for talking us through those photographs. Now there's no time to relax because we're off on another journey now. And this time we're going from Romsey to Cholton. Can you see my cat in the background there? That's Flick. I think she wants to come on the journey too. In this film you will meet two particularly wonderful volunteers. Dawn, a historical archaeologist, and Vanessa, who's going to talk to us about the weaving frame that we made on one of the courses. So from myself and Flick, over to Butser Farm.
Butser Ancient Farm is an experimental archaeology centre where buildings are reconstructed as they're believed to have been in the past, based on evidence found by archaeologists. This evidence is things like post holes, which show the basic shape of a building in the ground, as well as environmental remains that show what materials were used and so on.
everybody. Now, I'm here today to show you how to make a frame and do some Roman weaving out of bits and pieces you can find around the house and the garden. This was part of the summer holiday project we did at Butser Ancient Farm aimed at families, and was a very popular activity. First of all, I'm going to make these 3 sticks into a triangular frame by just tying them together. A triangle is much stronger than a square. Right, here's the frame. You can see it's very easy to do. We called this Roman weaving. All of our weeks at Butser Ancient Farm had a different ancient civilization theme. Mine was the Romans. The Romans did a lot of weaving on homemade looms, and so we tried to do the same. The next step is just to make some strands of tape or string going to and fro across your frame so you've got something to weave into. I think I'm going to get better than Kirsty Allsop at this. Right, this is just a very basic example of what you can achieve. Another idea we had was to put some bird seeds somehow, or plants that birds would like to eat, and hang it up in the garden. We also thought that you could make 2 triangles, put one of them upside down, tie them together to make a star, and at Christmas time you could use Christmas green leaves, holly, tinsel or anything to make a sort of wreath for your door or a Christmas decoration. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my demonstration and are prepared to have a go. I'm sure Caroline would love to get your photographs. Bye.
Did you enjoy that? We certainly did. What great fun lime washing the roundhouse was, and the families at Butser Farm had a fantastic time. Are you inspired to make one of those A-frames to do some natural weaving with? Before we go, we've just got one more place to show you. We're heading back to Romsey to King John's House and Heritage Centre, and my colleague Kate will show you the wonders that are there.
King John's House and Heritage Centre was the base for the Romsey group. A tour of the house introduced the original medieval architecture. The group were astounded to discover a floor made from sheep's knuckles obtained from local tanneries. The view from the window is of the picturesque Victorian gardens, and this is where young servants would have slept in Tudor times. And participants explored the 18th century dining room. This is the parlour of William and Mabel Moody, who ran a gunsmith shop from their home. Now, we all know that the little things in life make a big difference when we're feeling a little blue, so here they are drinking Matawazi tea. A visit to the Heritage Centre gave the group an opportunity to learn about early motoring in Romsey and the Mitchell's garage. The Green Buttercup Dementia Group from Romsey enjoyed a multi-sensory session at King John's House. Here they are using aroma pots to ignite their senses and memories, whilst these homemade pomanders put a different slant on the experience. Volunteer Sally West led a reminiscence session about shopping in bygone days. The group discovered this marmalade cutter made by Follows and Bates Limited, who also made other household appliances including potato chippers and bread cutters. And the course finished with a walk down memory lane looking at photographs and reminiscing about shops in Romsey High Street.
King John's House has got a very special place in my heart. My father and I would go there often, and we would go into the tea room and order lunch, And if the sun was shining, we'd go out into the garden and eat it there. Speaking of lunch, it must be almost time. What are you going to have for lunch? Are you going to have some soup or a sandwich or maybe some scrambled egg? I don't know, but whatever you have, enjoy. Thank you for your company today. Do remember to join us again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m, when we will be buying a ticket for the watercress line and visiting some other beautiful heritage sites. But until then, take care